The cafe buzzed with the usual morning noise, clattering cups, the soft hum of conversation, the occasional laugh that burst too loud before dissolving back into the atmosphere. But beneath it all, something quiet and tense settled around Ethan. He didn't notice it at first. He was too absorbed in his phone, too focused on replying to messages that seemed more urgent than they really were. He barely lifted his eyes when the waitress, Anna, passed by, carrying plates with the delicate balance of someone who'd done this 1,000 times. She didn't look at him again, but she didn't avoid him either. She moved with the same calm certainty she'd had when he insulted her earlier, as though she hadn't taken it personally at all. He didn't understand people like that, people who absorbed cruelty like it was nothing more than background noise. He was used to reactions, fear, annoyance, defensiveness. The lack of reaction from her almost felt like a challenge. He took a sip of water, tapping his fingers restlessly as he scanned through an investor report. His stomach tightened with growing irritation. The food was taking too long. The service felt too slow. Everything in this town was too slow. He wasn't built for slowness. Slowness gave his mind too much room. Room to wander, room to think. He didn't like that. He preferred cities, loud, fast, distracting. The kind of places where he could avoid the parts of himself he never wanted to face. He exhaled sharply and set his phone down. His chest felt tight, but he assumed it was stress. His breathing had been uneven all week. His assistant had begged him to see a doctor, but he had brushed her off. "I don't get sick," he had said, which was only partially true. He did get sick, he just pretended he didn't, because illness felt like weakness, and weakness was unacceptable. He pinched the bridge of his nose, trying to ease the pressure behind his eyes. But then the tightness in his chest suddenly sharpened. It wasn't subtle this time. It wasn't the slow build he'd been ignoring. It was fast. Sudden. Like someone had reached inside and squeezed his lungs with a closed fist. He inhaled sharply, or tried to. The air didn't come, his throat tightened, almost closing. His heart hammered violently against his ribcage, each beat echoing painfully in his ears. A wave of heat washed over his skin, followed by a cold sweat. He gripped the edge of the table, his knuckles turning white. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He tried to speak, but his voice came out as a rasp, barely audible. He pushed his chair back abruptly, the legs scraping loud enough to draw attention. His vision blurred for a moment, then cleared again with sharp edges. People around him began to turn, their conversations slowing as confusion spread from one table to another. A woman gasped. A man stood up halfway. A child whispered, "Mom, what's wrong with him?" But Anna, who had been across the cafe carrying a tray of drinks, reacted before anyone else. She set the tray down instantly, glasses clinking together, and rushed toward him with urgency that didn't match her earlier calm. Ethan didn't understand how she reached him so quickly. One moment she was across the room, the next, she was kneeling beside him. "Sir. Can you hear me?" Her voice was clear, steady, not panicked, not frightened, just focused. He tried to speak again, but his throat felt like it was closing in on itself. He wheezed, struggling to pull even a shred of air into his lungs. He felt his hands trembling uncontrollably. The cafe fell into a stunned silence. Every eye was on him, but no one knew what to do, except her. "Look at me," she said firmly, placing one hand against his shoulder to steady him. "You're having an allergic reaction. What did you eat before you came here? Did you have anything new? Nuts? Shellfish?" He didn't answer, he couldn't. His breaths were shallow and fast, panic rising like a wave ready to swallow him whole. His heartbeat was so loud it drowned out everything else. Anna didn't waste time. "Do you have an EpiPen?" she asked, his mind scrambled. He knew the answer. He had one. Always. His assistant forced him to carry it after he'd had a reaction years ago. He never used it, never even opened it. But he carried it. He shook his head, not to say no, but because he couldn't form words. Anna understood anyway. "Bag," he croaked out, barely audible. "Which one?" she asked quickly. He pointed weakly to his leather messenger bag sitting beside him on the booth seat. His vision faded around the edges again, the world dimming and brightening in uneven pulses. The buzzing in his ears grew louder, drowning out the noise around him. Anna grabbed his bag, unzipping it with practiced speed. She didn't rummage blindly. She moved with precision, as if she'd done this many times before. Within seconds, she pulled out the EpiPen. The moment she had it in her hand, Ethan saw something change in her. Her face, still calm, shifted into a deeper seriousness. She looked at him with a steadiness he'd never seen from anyone before. "This will help you," she said gently, "but you need to breathe slowly. Don't fight it." She removed the safety cap, positioned the pen, and pressed it into his thigh in one swift, confident movement. A soft clicking sound marked the injection. Ethan flinched, a sharp sting running through him, but almost immediately, something began to shift. His chest loosened slightly. His airway, though still constricted, felt just a little less suffocating. His breath came in shaky, uneven pulls, but at least they were coming. Anna stayed close, one hand gently resting on his back as he struggled through the next few breaths. "You're okay," she whispered. "Just keep breathing. I'm right here." Her voice was soothing, impossibly steady for someone dealing with such a terrifying moment. Ethan felt tears prick the corners of his eyes, not from emotion, but from the pain and the fear that had just taken hold of him so completely. But something deeper stirred inside him too. A realization he couldn't quite reach yet, but it lingered like a shadow. She wasn't panicking, she wasn't confused, she wasn't guessing. She knew exactly what to do. Minutes passed, long, fragile minutes, until his breaths began to even out. The tightness in his chest eased. The frantic pounding of his heart calmed into a steady, less violent rhythm. Finally, he was able to inhale deeply, a sound that felt like relief itself.